The wind screamed over the mountains like a wounded thing, carrying sand and memory across the decaying walls of Falcon Base. The outpost sat alone in the Afghan highlands, a relic from a war that had ended for everyone except those who couldn't forget. Inside the dim-lit radar station, a woman moved like she belonged to the silence. Elena Ward, civilian technician, age 32, no military record. She worked nights because she preferred the dark. Her colleagues joked that she was more machine than human, never late, never loud, and never around long enough for small talk. But if they had looked closer, they might have noticed how her movements carried the ghost of training that didn't belong to a contractor. The way she checked sight lines before turning a corner. The way her eyes always flicked to the sky when a jet passed overhead. If they had looked even closer, they might have seen the name tattooed faintly under her sleeve, a name she'd once sworn to the clouds. Nora Hale. 5 years ago, Captain Nora Hale had been one of NATO's most daring pilots. Valkyrie, the call sign whispered through hangars and briefings, until she and her jet vanished during a classified operation deep over enemy lines. No wreckage, no body. Her name was carved into a memorial wall back home. But ghosts don't die. They hide. Falcon Base. 2:13 hours. The radar room was quiet, a low electronic hum filling the stale air. Then, without warning, the green blip of the horizon froze. Static crawled across the screen. "Radar freeze?" Lieutenant Mason muttered, tapping the console. "Ward, what the hell is that?" Elena's eyes narrowed. She didn't answer right away. Her fingers danced across the keyboard, bypassing standard diagnostics, diving into encrypted submenus that hadn't existed on the system schematic. "Power surge?" Mason pressed. "No," she said softly. "Something's jamming us." The words barely left her mouth when the backup radar flickered, then went dark. The base fell into a kind of stillness that only came before something catastrophic. Mason frowned. "We're blind." Elena stood, her posture changing, no longer the quiet civilian. She moved like muscle memory waking from a coma. "You need to evacuate the operations wing," she said calmly. He blinked. "Evacuate? You're not in charge here, miss." But the look she gave him stopped the argument cold. It was the look of command, the kind that came from hours in a cockpit with missiles in the sky. "Do it," she said again, and walked out. The desert wind hit her like a slap as she burst into the open air. The horizon glowed faintly under moonlight, and then she saw them. 6 faint shadows cutting across the clouds, formation tight, moving low and fast. Her stomach turned. Those weren't Allied signatures. Inside the hangar, mechanics froze as she strode in. "You can't be in here!" one shouted. "Where's the F-35?" she demanded. "It's offline, half-fueled, maintenance cycle." She didn't wait. She was already climbing the ladder, sliding into the cockpit like she'd never left it. The tech grabbed the rail, shouting over the turbine whine. "Lady, who the hell are you?" The visor sealed over her face, HUD flaring alive. She looked down at him through the canopy. "I'm the ghost you buried 5 years ago." He stepped back, eyes wide. "You're Valkyrie?" The engines screamed to life. "Not anymore," she murmured. "Tonight I'm just what's left." 2:28 hours. The F-35 leapt from the runway like a resurrection. Dust exploded behind her as she tore into the sky. Below, Falcon Base trembled under its own heartbeat. "Falcon Control!" Her voice cut through static, low and steady. "This is Valkyrie." On the ground, Mason's coffee cup shattered as he lunged for the mic. "That's impossible." "Valkyrie's dead," she finished. "So are a lot of people who depended on me. I'm not letting that happen again." The radar flared with signatures. 6 enemy drones, AI-guided, modified for surgical strikes. Someone wanted Falcon Base erased, and cleanly. Her fingers glided over the controls, the plane obeying like it remembered her heartbeat. Target lock acquired. She fired. The missile streaked through the darkness and bloomed into light. 1 drone gone, then another. The others split, flanking high. Smart machines, smarter programming. But they weren't haunted. Not like she was. She dove, pulling 9Gs, her teeth gritting against the strain. Warnings screamed across her display. She didn't care. The last time she'd flown, she'd died. Tonight, she'd live like someone who'd already paid for it. Her final missile found its mark. The sky turned to fire. By dawn, the wreckage of 6 enemy drones lay scattered across the desert. Valkyrie returned to base on fumes. The hangar crew stared as her canopy lifted. Mason stood frozen. "Who are you?" Nora stepped out slowly, helmet under her arm. "Someone who should have stayed gone," she said softly. "But ghosts come back when the living stop paying attention." 3 days later, a NATO investigative team arrived. Cameras, questions, commanders who wanted explanations. The report called her a miracle. The official story said a former pilot consultant had acted in self-defense, but whispers spread fast. Soldiers began calling her the ghost of Falcon Base. Mason found her sitting on the wing of her jet one evening, staring at the horizon. "You could have stayed hidden," he said. "Why come back?" Nora smiled faintly, eyes reflecting the dying light. "Because someone's always listening," she said. "The signal that jammed our radar wasn't random. It was encrypted, old NATO frequency, the same one that went dead the night my team vanished." He blinked. "You think whoever took you down is still out there?" "I don't think," she said. "I know." That night, while the base slept, Nora opened a secure laptop she'd kept buried under false serial numbers and fake logs. She connected it to the jet's onboard recorder. The data streamed: code, radar traces, encrypted logs, and buried within it, a faint digital signature pulsed once, twice. A call sign she'd never forgotten. Bishop 9. Her jaw tightened. Bishop had been her handler, the man who'd ordered her on the mission that ended her life. The screen blinked. Incoming transmission. Unknown source. "Valkyrie, you were never supposed to come back." Her heart went cold. The monitor shut off. Outside, engines rumbled in the distance, not allied. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Then I guess I'll haunt you properly this time." A week later, satellite footage would show a classified skirmish near the Afghan border. A rogue drone fleet intercepted and destroyed mid-air. The official report listed it as a localized weather anomaly. But inside Falcon Base, the radar picked up one last signal, a single F-35 climbing past 50,000 feet before vanishing off the grid. Mason stared at the screen, whispering to himself, "Valkyrie." The operator beside him nodded silently. She was gone again. But this time it wasn't disappearance, it was choice.